Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third and final part of the RB5 Showcase 2.0. Today, I have with me a guest who only seems to be able to RB5 energy characters, the infamous Hatemael.
What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here. This is actually one of my favorite things that anyone does, this RB5 Showcase. It's just, I don't know why, but I just find it highly entertaining.
I appreciate that. I feel like a lot of people who have the Rebirth 5s find it more entertaining, and the people who don't have Rebirth 5s maybe are like, well, that's just a brag fest. But we'll see. I don't know. Due to time constraints on both of our busy schedules, I have class in a few hours, and I'm pretty sure he's literally at work right now. I'll have a second guest join me for the second half of the video. Today, we're going over the energy affinity, so a bunch of aliens and metahumans alike. Before I get into the characters, though, there are two items to address. The first is, once again, I need to thank Silver Fox for updating the art from the previous Rebirth 5 showcase and creating all the new ones as well. Secondly, there are a few players that I accidentally left out last time for the mystical show. I felt really bad because I'm pretty sure some people like contacted me like right before I took a nap or like right before I went to bed for the night, and I was like, oh, I'll get it in the morning, or I'll get it when I wake up, and I totally forgot. So I have to give a real quick shout out to Cthulhu, who I don't believe is in an alliance, but he Rebirth 5'd Star Sapphire, who is a very powerful character now, so we're a little worried about that one. OC3 of the Owls, who also Rebirth 5 Donna Troy and Wonder Girl. And this one actually scares me a little bit. Red Frenchie of Viverite, or I say Viverite, but Verite, excuse me. Rebirth 5 to Black Flash already. So that's a worry one. Do you have any thoughts on Black Flash?
I think we're going to see a lot of Black Flash RB5 sooner than later because he is triple S tier. So.
Oh God, we're all patiently awaiting that tier list. So, but yeah, I guess we can just kind of get right into it from there. So starting off the bat strong, we have one of the characters that got rebirthed in the beginning of 2020. Has not left PvP since then, and that is Arkkis. And we've got 5 people who Rebirth 5'd Arkkis. Mirror Master, previously of the Owls, he may or may not have quit the game at this point. DeBoy, who's now of the 1500. Sheriff Lobo, who is still of the Owls.
Excuse me.
I feel that. Those 3 had him Rebirth 5'd last go around, but since then we've also added Vincent Young of the Owls and Devil's Knight of the Owls. I'm really surprised a lot of only Owls have Arkkis Rebirth 5 that I know of. Like, I feel like he's someone that should definitely be more prominent as far as how many people have him there. Like, he's almost like the Black Adam of the Mystic or the Energy Affinity. Like, he is so powerful and like popular that I feel like there should be 20 people in this list. What do you think?
I'm completely shocked by it, to be honest with you. And it's funny because I almost when I Rebirth 5 Flash, when I decided I was going to just pick somebody new after I did my stun team, I almost pulled the trigger on him, and I kind of wish I had, just because he's so ridiculous. I mean, at RB5, he can take out my RB5 Donna Troy. I've had it happen more than once. If he's RB5 on retaliation, if you accidentally have to hit him, nothing. I mean, it doesn't matter what affinity your character is. You're most likely gonna, if not die, take so much damage that you stand the chance of losing it to him. You have to remove him. Well, he used to be first, now it's kind of second to Azrael, but I mean, he's still one of the scariest RB5 tunes, and not every tune gets as big of a bang for the buck for RB5, but Arkkis is one of those that he's obscene and doesn't really need it, but when you give it to him, he's just absurd. Absolutely absurd.
He's definitely someone I try really hard to avoid. If not, like, you have to bring some sort of crowd control to deal with it. Like, you have to stun him before he can get his taunt off. Like, you have to prevent that taunt at all costs, or you've basically lost the match at that point. But yeah, he's definitely one of the ones that I don't ever like to fight. So Any other thoughts on Arkkis?
No, just he's one of those characters. If you don't deal with him early, he can take over a match, and so he's easy to farm because of red alerts. I think the other day we had a triple where you could get him on all 3 nodes. So if you're contemplating who to do for relatively cheap, farm him 4 or 5 times every time he's in red alerts, and you can have him RB5 in no time.
Yeah, especially since they make red alerts like super cheap and easy. With Black Flash now, like red alerts are like
a joke. Joke.
They're so easy. Like they used to be incredibly difficult for me, and now I'm like, all right, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, so I'm trying to keep these relatively quick because the Green Affinity has the most characters in it, Rebirth 5. And like the last 2 episodes I did were each almost like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. So the next one up, we have Brainiac by Grim Reaper of the Owls, who he had him RB5 last go around, but I'm surprised no one else has kind of added to that list. Brainiac's one of those characters that isn't the greatest anymore at what he does as far as like the turn meter control. But that anti-retaliation is huge. Definitely helps you against Arkkis, like we just talked about. Wonder Girl is not as much of a threat. There's so many out-of-turn attacks anymore that his leadership is pretty useful almost all the time, especially against people like Huntress. So what do you think about Brainiac?
He's actually on my RB5 list. It's just been kind of a slow-going list because I have just so many energy characters. But I have shards to take him RB4 now after PvP farming, and was really jealous of Grim Reaper for RB5ing him back in the day. I think he's one of those characters that, because you quite often, I mean, you even saw it in this siege where he was used out of lead to get that extra turn meter if you didn't have Impulse, or even if you did have Impulse. If Brainiac was in their team, the only way to counter him is your own Brainiac, or you'll never get a turn. So he's one of those characters I just feel like, it's kind of like Hal Jordan. He may disappear for a little while, but he always seems to make a comeback. So I think he's a good investment, and he will be RB5 for me eventually.
Nice. You make a good point because anytime I think of Brainiac, the most prominent part about him was the turn meter, and I always assumed for some stupid reason that it was tied to his leadership. But now it's becoming more and more of a point that is not the case, and that if you throw him in to Cheetah or Martian Manhunter team, then you've basically, if you haven't won the match, you're forcing the hand of your opponent at that point. And unless you can get the high damage out before that they can get their turn, you're likely going to win with your Brainiac under one of those 2 leaders. But yeah, so that's Brainiac.
I have a feeling he'll be back possibly sooner than later. He always seems to make a comeback at some point.
Yeah, he's got a lot of survivability, a lot of like crowd control. He doesn't really seem like a damage character, but at RB5 he might very well be. You never know.
Yeah.
So moving on, we do have a tank character that got rebirthed also in 2020. I believe it was April. We have Chemo, who back last time I did this, the only person that had him was Vincent Young of the Owls. But since then, I have also taken him to Rebirth 5. And I'm not going to lie, I do think that I think he's annoying to fight on defense. Like when you're going up against a team with Chemo in it, if you don't bring your Hal Jordan or like a specific non-damage purger, Chemo still like kind of pisses you off a little bit. But at the same time, when I'm playing with my Chemo, I feel like he still dies too easily. His taunt is there, but he doesn't really have any survivability aside from his mens, and those are gated. There's no like crit immunity on him. There's no awareness or evasions. It's all just he's trying to be a blob of health, and that's great. Even at RB5, he does hit like a truck. I'm not gonna lie, and he does have a lot more survivability, but he still dies for me. So I do use him in limited circumstances at this point because there's such heavy hitters out there. But he's still a great character. What are your thoughts on Chemo?
I hate he's one of those characters I hate facing more than most and I think with the speed and with the speed meta, I didn't ever run into him in Siege, thankfully, but I know a few people did, and I know in Wraith when I faced him using Black Flash teams, that's the quickest way to kill yourself with Doom. So you take so many turns, and then all of a sudden all your characters are dead. I thought, didn't Joker have him RB5, or he hasn't finished him yet?
He hasn't sent me. I don't think he sent me an image of it. So if he does, then I just don't know about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I know he was going to take him RB5 if he hasn't yet, but I thought he was one of the earliest people to do it.
No, Vincent was the earliest, unfortunately, but because I wanted to be the first. But I know I know Joker was working towards it. He has his bleed team almost done, I believe. But I think he prioritized Cheetah and Siren first, so I'm not entirely sure on that one.
I do feel like he's a character that needs it because he can be squishy, but like you said, he's one of those characters. He's very scary on defense. On offense, he's not nearly as good.
Right, exactly.
Still good though. I think it was a good one.
Okay, so moving on, we have your unique, which I'm surprised more people haven't taken him as well. There's a lot of characters on here that I'm surprised a lot of people haven't taken up as much. But the Flash, obviously, very high damage character, hits almost all the time, very annoying to fight, especially under a Lex lead. I hate the fact that he can hit under awarenesses, but I mean, it's the one thing that makes him like useful at this point. Aside from his high damage power, what are your thoughts on Flash? I know you don't really use him much because you're like stuck to your stun team, but
yeah, and even my kind of like my off-brand teams that I've been starting to run, he's one of those characters. He's one of my few Rebirth regrets. I like him, but he's another character on offense. He isn't even remotely as good as he is on defense. On defense, he's just a monster. But on offense, he doesn't proc the hits as frequently. I do use him every day in red alerts. So that's the one, because I usually run Lex Flash. Now I'm running Black Flash with him too. And, he's always been useful there. So he's not completely useless, but he's just, I don't know, he just doesn't do, he's too fast in some cases, or he's not fast enough in others. And also, I'm really shocked that nobody. I mean, as popular as a character as he is, like as a character, I love him. I've always loved Flash, but I don't know. He just doesn't quite do it for me. So he's one of those ones I kind of wish I hadn't used my RB tokens on.
Yeah, I feel that. I've got a couple of those as well. Whatchamacallit. Yeah, you're right though. There's a lot of like Flash fans in the DCL community. I feel like there's at least a post once a month, at least, asking for more rogues or more Flash content in general. And I feel like some people, if not a lot of people, were like disappointed at his rework because they were like, why would I want him to like hit through the awarenesses, because I want him to take them out. But at the same time, I think since then people have really realized like, oh, that's actually a really good thing. And it's good that I don't have to deal with those awarenesses with Flash, and he takes so many turns, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and a lot of people didn't even take the legendary, which now, especially with Martian Manhunter on 70% of teams, I love that ability. That's one of the he's actually halfway decent against Azrael for that reason too when he's under Martian Manhunter.
Wow, yeah, I see. You say that, but like I sit here and I think like sometimes those awarenesses save me because I'm like, well, I really just don't want to trigger Azrael right now. So I'm gonna hit this character with an awareness.
Yeah, but remember most of his attacks are out of turn, so it won't trigger him.
That's true. That is true. Okay, that's a good point. Have you had any last final thoughts on Flash?
No, I mean, he's definitely not a bad rework. He just doesn't quite do enough damage to really, like, he needs Cheetah or somebody to give him strength ups to hit hard enough to really be worth it.
That's not a bad plan. So moving on, I'm pretty sure there has been a second Rebirth 5 of this character since I created this list. I'm not sure who the second one is. However, shortly after this Impulse Siege started, we saw Empowered from the Guardians of the Universe Rebirth 5 Gorilla Grodd, who got reworked last month in December of 2020 and has proven to be probably one of the better special support characters in the game, as far as you don't necessarily need Lex anymore to spread out intelligence ups. And I think that's something that they really needed to introduce, because if they didn't, then Lex would still be, and if not, still is the like one of the reigning leaders of the game. Um, and Grodd might make him just that much better, but he also kind of takes away a use that Lex brings to the table and lets you bring some more variety out. So, what do you think of Gorilla Grodd?
I love him. I actually farmed RB5 shards at his last event. He's on my very, very lengthy rebirth list, and he's an energy character, so that, kind of keeps him not moving super high as of now. But he will eventually, assuming there isn't people that cut in front of him that come out in the future, be on my RB5. One of my favorite teams that I've been running for a while now, kind of pre-Black Flash. Now the team doesn't work as well as Lobo, Grodd, Cersei, Martian Manhunter, and you could auto almost every team with it. And I think at RB5 he would really hit hard.
True. And then you're also boosting up Martian and Cersei while you're at it. And that just makes it one killer team. Yeah, I can see that. I do enjoy and appreciate the rework as well. I'm just because of the fact that, like, one of my favorite characters in the lore, Vandal Savage, who is not the greatest character in game, is actually pretty decent with Gorilla Grodd on the team. He fixes Savage's speed constraints. He gives him that extra power damage boost that he needs right off the bat. So there's a lot of good that he can bring to your team, and like bring characters that aren't as useful and make them better in my opinion. But I also really enjoy the death immunity that he brings as well. It's basically like a partial Brainiac lead in a passive. So actually, I think my favorite part about Gorilla Grodd is the intelligence steal.
You sound like you're starting to talk yourself on RB5 in him.
I farmed the shards to Rebirth 2, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm trying really, really hard not to like overspend and not to
But that is the cheapest way to RB5.
It is. It is. I don't think I had the gems at the time, because I was at the point where I only had like 70,000 to begin with, and I'm pretty sure I wanted to make sure I had enough for Impulse when his sale dropped. But at the same time, yeah, I wish I had the gems. I just didn't want to pay for them. But yeah, moving on, we have Hal Jordan, who last time I did this, you were one of the only two people to have him Rebirth 5, along with Ryza Storm King from Vietnam First. Call it. Since then, we have had Biohazard 31660 of Biostroke Team, Son of Vulcan from original S91, and NWO Reptimus Prime from NWO Wolfpack, which I'm really happy to hear a lot more alliances and a lot more players that I don't like see often, like in the CC or in the like Discords or whatever. Because honestly, a lot of this feels like a big owl fest. But this Hal Jordan's a very popular character. He's a very useful character, despite the fact he doesn't bring turn meter to the team. That 2-turn debuff immunity still makes me avoid him in fights every Wraith.
He's one of those characters that I thought I might eventually regret, but I have to say I never regret him. If I ever see a Harley Quinn Majester team, I use him. I mean, he's my instant go-to. If I see Batgirl teams, instant go-to. If I see heavy disease teams, because usually with Hal, with the shields, he's so tanky, especially at RB5. You can survive turn one. Now, Black Flash complicates things a little bit, but he's one of those characters that I think will never completely die off. I think even if, you saw it before. I think even if he goes out of style for a while, he's one of those characters they'll give him another rework eventually. Because he's like the main character of the game, it seems like more so than Superman or Batman or any of this. Because they seem to love their lanterns.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I understand the use of Hal Jordan, and like there are situations where I feel like, oh, I could totally use Hal Jordan right now. Mine is not geared, however, just because I think Hal Jordan is one of the most like boring meh characters like in the game / lore. I know he's like the greatest Green Lantern or whatever, but I don't know. He just gives me like stereotypical white boy like vibes, and I'm just not feeling it. So I never geared him up, and I feel like he's also one of those like original 7 that you get. Like he's one of the very first characters that you get, so that's kind of a turn off as well, just because you're like, well, I want to have like some cooler variety to my teams. But yeah, he's undeniably useful. Anytime you see a Harley or an Eclipso, absolutely. And my Raish team, like I'd have to my damage in my Raish team is like my disease. Like that is what brings my Raish team to be able to beat and compete with people, and I can't do that against Hal Jordan teams. So that's a problem.
I love him. I mean, he's a little boring. He's a little vanilla, but he's such a useful character.
I see that. Yeah, I feel that too. Coming up next, we have a unique Rebirth 5 that you brought to the table between the last time I did this and now, and that is Hawkgirl, who got a rework that is sorry, my cat is just all up in my shit right now. She got a rework that is quite scary good. Doesn't do like the damage, but like is consistently stunning all the people I need to win a fight, and it pisses me off more than anything. I'm surprised though, because you didn't bring Hawkman up, and like I want to see a team where the two of them are Rebirth 5 and just kicking dick together. What are your thoughts?
She's probably, of all the characters in the game, I think she's my favorite. Even though I haven't been using her a whole lot lately, just because I've been tinkering around with Lobo since I took him up and some other characters. But she's just a fun character and a little bit RNG based, which is kind of annoying. Even though you have a 70% chance of stun, it feels like it doesn't go off like at the worst possible time. But overall, at RB5, it's night and day. She's one of those characters that at L5, she's solid, very good. At RB5, she becomes a great character because she does enough damage to kill Rets. Because prior to that, she doesn't always, when she does the double hit with her basic, she doesn't always kill somebody. At RB5, she always kills. And the damage modifiers is significant. Plus, she's a little bit squishy at L5, but RB5, that seems to fix that. I love that. I love the character. Almost every character I rebirthed since I took her up has been kind of designed around trying to make her work with that team. Because I always want to slot her just because it's fun.
I feel that. Yeah, she's definitely someone that worries me. Like, especially, so my new Raish team member is Impulse, and Impulse has that stun right away. And if you stun anyone, she gets that turn meter. So like I actually use her stun immunity against her, and I pick her as the character to stun. So that way I don't like have to worry about the turn meter getting a thing. But she's a bad girl. Like she is hard to get tamed a little bit because she just keeps using her AoE. A lot of people put her on like Donna Troy and stuff to like get the cooldown on her AoE like returned quickly. Very annoying character, especially with that crit immunity as well. So, any last thoughts on Hawkgirl?
Nope, she's a fun one. And then, we'll talk about it when we talk about the next character. I was gonna bring up your pairing, but I can discuss it with that.
Oh, okay. Well, so the next character is your other unique, which is Killer Frost. Unless
I thought Hawkeye was next on your list. Oh, Hawkman, excuse me.
I mean, we can talk about him. I didn't highlight.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about him.
What do you think about Hawkman?
Well, Hawkeye is the guy who has Hawkman as the only person in the Owls, and which is fitting. I mean, if he didn't RB5 them, that would just be terrible. But Hawkman's one of those characters that I want to work so much, and I think he needs a rework. He's solid, but he doesn't do anything super unique or super special. He's kind of like Arkkis, but he takes longer to ramp. And he pairs pretty well with Hawkgirl. But because they're both green, and the best characters to run with them are also green, it makes it challenging to make a team work. He's one of those characters I do eventually want to RB5, but once again, he's a green character, and there's just so many other greens that are higher priority. But I do think that he's one of those characters that a minor rework, and he'll be just amazing. And he also is extremely good in raids. So if he has any bonus multiplier, he's better than most of the bonus characters right away.
True. And I think the drawback from, like, the reason Hawkman doesn't have like as much damage or it takes longer to ramp is because unlike Arkkis, unlike Powergirl, all those like heavy hitting strength up greens, he has crowd control, whereas they just have a little bit of extra survivability. And he has plenty of survivability as well. I think with him feeding stuns out, Hawkgirl would get more turns, but at the same time, there are other stun characters in the green affinity that would probably pair better.
I mean, I like running Cheetah lead with those two, and then a lot of times I would run Metallo as the fourth, and then everybody stuns except for Cheetah, and she gives them all the strength ups, which is nice, but it just, for whatever reason, it doesn't work as well as I would like it to.
Yeah, especially since the speed meta is out there, you'd have to have Cheetah plus a speedster at this point.
Yeah, I'm hoping the speed meta comes crashing down eventually, and then you can start running some more of these more fun, slower teams. But
I hope so too, but I also hope it doesn't, because now I've heavily invested in Impulse, and Impulse makes my race team work. So
I don't know if Impulse will completely die if the speed meta dies, though. So
true. He's more of an evasion character anyway. Any last thoughts about Hawkman?
Nope, that's all I got on him.
Okay. So next up we have Killer Frost, also owned exclusively by you from the Owls. She is kind of the stun queen, but I'll let you go first.
She's one of those characters that I still run my core team pretty frequently, which is Hal, Donna Troy, Killer Frost, and Catwoman. And she's one of those characters I really like. I find that she's starting to get power crept, where other characters are just a better version of what she does. But what she does really well is having an having a no damage stun that's on a short cooldown. So then because so often anymore you're afraid to hit somebody because you don't want to get counterattacked or set them off. So she's still super useful in that regard. And at RB5, her basic will wipe out reds, can kill greens pretty easy, and even do respectable damage to blues. So she's a character I'll never regret gearing. And she's really good. I do think she probably has gotten a little power crept at this point, so I'm hoping that she gets a second rework one day. But I won't. She doesn't really need it right now. She'll probably last a good while, and all it takes is, for some new style of stun type character, and you can slot her in. I still put her in quite a few teams. I think more. She's not as scary as Hawkgirl on defense, but she's more reliable. You can definitely plan your stuns easier, and they're guaranteed.
Right. She's one of those characters that definitely excels within a niche. Like, she's not S tier. She might not even be A tier, but she feels like an A tier in a stun team, because the more you feed her stuns, the more she heals, the more she boosts herself up, the more she out of turn attacks. Like, she's kind of like Hush to me. I think Hush is very good in a silence team. And whatchamacallit, the damage, I've seen the damage. Like, she obliterates people when I fight your team. I don't fight your team very often, but I've done it like 3 times in the last 2 or 3 months. She's scary as hell. So definitely a good choice. Definitely a sexy character, especially with her new skin.
Yeah, I do love that new skin.
Yeah, I love the hair. I think they finally did like a happy medium, because the basic just looks awful, but people prefer it over the very like punk rock legendary. So I'm glad they brought in like a happy medium.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving on. We have one of the most Rebirth 5 characters in the game. Also, you are part of the player list that has him, and that is Martian Manhunter. Last time we had Red Tornado from Justice League Incorporated, Rise JP2294 from the Antimatter universe, Twin City Legend, who I believe is in Kingdom of Atlantis, Chica, who from Dark Power, Streets Ahead, who is now an owl, and that's it for last go around. And then there have been a freak ton of people who have Rebirth 5'd him since the last showcase, including Loot of the Owls, Devil's Knight of the Owls, yourself, Devil's Brother 22 from Red Suns, Grandpa Owl from the Owls, Wukong of the Kingdom of Atlantis, The Best Master, M4Y15. This one, I don't know if it's just supposed to be ICTI or ICT from Collegia Titanica, Vincent Young of the Owls, Christian from CSS 97, and Marshall from Marshall. Yeah.
That's great.
Very, very powerful leader at this point in the game. I think he's more of a support character, but he still brings a lot of damage to the table. And I think that turn meter is pretty clutch. He is slightly bugged with his debug. Other than that, I have zero complaints about the character. What do you think about
He's one of those
Martian
characters that I
Manhunter?
originally wasn't going to Rebirth. I took him to RB2, I think, early on. And then I was like, well, I'm going to just leave him there because he doesn't really need the damage. But then I decided I wanted to complete my Hawkgirl stun team. So I just took him to RB5 just because. And he's one of those ones that I do not regret in even the slightest rebirthing him to 5, because that little bit of survivability has made a huge impact. But more importantly, the damage. Because his basic, he gets those intellect up so quick. And then his basic does so much damage at RB5. And you can reliably kill, like this past siege, for example. If Jay has 50% or less life, you know the basic's going to kill him. So you can just rely on that if you don't have your 3 up. And his 3 does crazy. Like you can always, at RB5, you will always one-shot any red. So it's even on turn 1. So he's absolutely worth it. He's probably the best leader in the game, even over Lex, I would say, in most scenarios. So, I mean, just a powerhouse. And that's why everybody in the universe has him Rebirth.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah, he and Cheetah are kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum with offense and defense, but he still brings so much offense where she doesn't bring as much defense. So I can see why there is such a power struggle between the two as far as how often they're used. And whatchamacallit, if he doesn't kill the character even at RB5, like if he calls an assist, then that call assist will probably kill them, or he'll likely stun them anyway with his 3. So like either way, something good is gonna come from you using him. So I do appreciate the rework quite a bit. A lot of people wanted that rework to happen.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park with that one. So.
Yeah, they did. Any final thoughts on Martian Manhunter?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. So moving on, we have one of the characters, probably the first character that was considered even slightly overpowered. She came out, I believe, in 2018, maybe 2019. It was Powergirl. I'm also surprised that only one person has her Rebirth 5, considering how often I see her in PvP. And that is OC3 of the Owls. She's a brand new Rebirth 5 within the last 6 months. He's working towards his Superman Kryptonian team. and she is definitely one to put on it with all of her insane amount of power. What do you think about Powergirl?
I really like Powergirl. She's kind of gotten a little power crept over the years, but she's still a character that you have to kind of plan for. She's still scary. And I think in certain teams, and I think as the metas evolve, she's actually a very good character against the speed meta, because these counter-attack characters are the characters that deal best with them. Like Alan Scott has really kind of starting to make a little bit of a comeback. And Powergirl, granted, she doesn't deal with Black Flash, but she deals with everybody else because gets to take a turn when she's frozen. Plus, she gets that death immunity. So I think she's one of those characters that we'll kind of see pop in and out of the meta. She's not like, an S tier character any longer, but she's still a solid character. And that RB5 that gives her that survivability and damage, that's just scary.
Yeah, because just like Arkkis, I'm always afraid of the Powergirl retaliation. Like there's plenty of times over the years that you hit her and you don't really expect much, and then she like one shot KOs your whatever character you're using, and especially since she has the taunt, and if you didn't bring like a true sight or a purger to like kind of get around it, you're kind of SOL. If you bring a red character, you're forced to fight her. And a lot of people think that, like, I've heard Josh say it on a stream, I think like a week ago, he's like, I wish there was a skip button for your turn. And I was like, well, that negates almost every retaliation character in the game, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, she's a great character. Honestly, I could easily see her getting a rework this year, just because she is an older character at this point, and she has been power crept. So we'll see. She's someone to keep on the lookout for.
I hope not, though, because I'd much rather see these trash tier characters that have desperately needed it for years over a character who's already pretty solid even without a rework. So
completely agree with you.
But it wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, WD doesn't care about that shit. They're like, well, let's do Powergirl. We'll see. I'm hoping for like a Talia this year. It's been almost a year and a half. We'll see. But moving on, we have the next character that I think he's actually now the third most Rebirth 5'd. He was one of the most last time, but I think Black Adam and Martian Manhunter kind of beat him in quantity levels. But Support Suit Lex is one of the most powerful characters in the game, especially with his insane amount of sustain. Last go around, we had quite a few people already do Rebirth 5 for him, like Loot, Vincent Young, Juicy Fries, Bullsy, Fanatics of Justice League Incorporated, Sheriff Lobo, Rex Fung, M4, Hawk Guy, and Grandpa Owl. Most of them owls. Have brought him all the way to Rebirth 5. And then, of course, we also have, since then, we only have two people who have Rebirth 5'd him, and that is OC3 of the Owls and Red Frenchie from Verite. What are your thoughts on Lex?
I'm actually happy to say that it seems like Lex is starting to take a step back in the meta. Like, ever since the speed meta has been born this year, he's still undeniably one of the best characters in the game, and you can really muscle past extremely challenging teams using Lex. Sometimes I don't even realize how good he is until I see Chosen One getting carried by him. But he is, I feel like his day is starting to dwindle just a little bit, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, they're bringing enough variety out there that especially the thing that bring out the variety are the new characters, and they're being very conscious of it. Like you can see it even with the release of Black Flash and Impulse. Like they're very low buff oriented. They both start out with abilities that don't buff them, just because they know that if they put a buff on an instant like 130 speed character and the AI uses that buff move right away, Lex is only going to become more prominent. So the fact that you can tell they're being conscious of like how they're releasing those buff characters to kind of negate the usefulness of Lex, even if it's only a little bit.
Yeah, and it's hard to do because without buffs, what are you? So
Exactly.
it's not too many. not a ton of options.
Right. And then there's. Do you have any final thoughts on Lex?
No, everybody familiar with Lex for the most part.
Yeah.
At RB, he's a character I don't really feel like needs RB5 though. I don't feel a big difference with facing RB5 Lex versus regular Lex. He's a little harder to kill. He hits a little harder, but
yeah, I feel that. There is one more character that we're gonna do before we switch guests, but so this is kind of more of a hypothetical because we don't know who owns this character. But Starfire was found in red alerts, and like I said, we don't know whose character it is, but we know that one of them exists, and I know that she was one of your very first Rebirth choices.
she was my very first Rebirth choice, actually.
Yeah, and you have her what, Rebirth 2 right now?
Yeah, I took her to 2 just because I think it was a Siege. She was a bonus character, so I decided to take her to 2. She's a character I'd love to RB5 one day, but I just can't justify another green that doesn't fit my theme. If it's funny because I've been thinking about switching off the stun teams eventually, and if I could that could either make Flash or Starfire work, that would probably be my next project. But Flash teams are kind of built around speed teams, so that kind of bores the crap out of me. So I would love to do something with Starfire. So if I can find a very, very competitive team, I would finish her. Maybe if they ever release Blackfire to do a pairing, that would be awesome. So
that would be cool.
That's a thought of mine, but I'm sure Blackfire will be green. So
right.
I've started to catch up with reds now, but I still only have 2 blue RB5s. I really need to find some mystics.
Well, so she benefits from heals like most of the time, and but not like passive heals like a Lex lead. She needs like an active heal ability.
Yeah.
So you really just need a quick healer, or someone who's constantly healing, like White Lantern, Sinestro, Enchantress, Black Lightning. Black Lightning would probably fit perfectly with how fast he is and how.
Well, and he stuns too, which I kind of always. He's a character I would love to see a rework for. Because he would fit both my teams. Of course, he's green, so that's a problem. But
right, yeah. But yeah, she still hits like a truck. I still am very, very afraid of her bomb, and her bomb doesn't feel like it's gonna destroy things. But then all of a sudden, like as soon as the green goes away, you're like, okay, who's dead? And you, like 3 of your characters are like gone. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, if the meta gets more red again, where there's a lot more physical characters, I could see her coming back pretty heavy. Yeah. Right now, it's so green, and there's not a lot of mystics that are real popular, but there's a handful, like a Cersei, that she doesn't really do much damage to because everybody's special damage now.
Right.
So she's in a character. I think she could use a rework. Give her just a little bit more, and I think she could be. What I would love to see, I will beg WB for this if she's a rework, is to make her 2 just always stun. It doesn't have to hit evasion to stun. Then she can fit in all my teams. So.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, she's still got that can't miss too, and like I'm honestly surprised because that can't miss alone with all of her damage should definitely keep her around in the meta. But she's also at this point, she's kind of a white whale. She was released before Siege was a thing, before Raids was a thing, so her shards are few and far between, I think.
Yeah, she hasn't been real available. I rarely see her. I actually thought about messing around with some teams with her, and I just haven't. But she has a lot going for her, and it's sometimes a bad thing when you have a lot going for you, and you aren't really, but you're not great at any one thing. Her AOE damage is really her niche, and you got to punch through so much stuff sometimes to get to that.
True. But yeah, that'll wrap that up, that half up. Do you have any final comments, Hatemael?
No, I can take her to RB3. I don't even have shards for RB5 to give you an idea how rare she is. So.
Right. I haven't seen her in the store in like a year, it feels like. But all right. So that is the first half of the green affinity. There are quite a few more characters to get to. I'm going to have another guest on in just a second, but thanks for joining the first half, guys.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, Tootie. I'm sure the audience is hate mailed out. I've been all over the place lately, so
I don't know if anyone's ever going to be hate mailed out. I think you have the voice of an angel. Hate.
You're the first person to ever tell me that. So maybe it's kind of like you're a prisoner and you hear something for so long you just grow attached to it. So people have been subjected to it for 3 years.
I feel that. I don't know. Anytime I listen to WROL, there's like certain voices I listen for, and if I hear certain other voices, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to listen to this one. But this will, whatchamacallit, I'm always appreciative of your opinion, so glad to have
Thanks
you.
a lot, Tootie. Appreciate it. Take care.
And we are back. Hate mail went back to work. I had to go to class, but we are here with some fresh perspective. My new guest is more of a free-to-play friendly player, but still spends every now and again, who doesn't have any RB5s. I asked him to come along because most of you know him. You downvote his Reddit posts every weekday. And also I wanted a perspective from someone who may or may not think RB5 is a scam. So please welcome Joshurawrs.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction. That was amazing.
Yeah, no problem. So we have to finish out like the rest of the energy affiliated Rebirth 5s. There are 11 left. But before that, I want to hear a bit about your opinion on Rebirth 5, why you haven't done it yet, and if you ever do plan on doing it.
I think it's pretty widely known that Rebirth is a scam. It's all a scam. It's the biggest scam in the game. No, would I ever do it? I think one day maybe. It's costs so much dang time and money, and in Rebirth crystals or shards or tokens, whatever people call them. It's so many of those things.
Yes, I agree. Whatchamacallit, I'm surprised though, because I think I was on your stream earlier today, and you were about to Rebirth 3 Harley. I had to leave before you did or didn't do that. Did you do that?
I did not. I'm trying to be smart and wait for the new kit to see if she's worth going. That RB3. I think I'm gonna take her RB3 though.
Probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit, though, every time I see you like about to rebirth someone though, like you only ever have 10 crystals, which tells me that you are spending them.
Even though I say it's a scam, I am spending them. I don't know. It's not me. It's the chat. The chat whispers into my ear, and then they get me to rebirth all these characters.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyone who doesn't know, Josh streams on Twitch every weekday, I believe. For me, I'm Central Time in America, so it's like it starts at 3 p.m. for me, ends around 5 p.m. Almost every day. And every day I'm mad because I'm like either in the middle of something or just waking up or just going to class, and I'm like, Josh, you are a slut.
Yeah, you always come in, you pop in, and you're like, I gotta go. I'm like, oh,
I know.
I'm
there for about
that's
20
okay.
to 30 minutes max most of the time because I have so much shit.
We love it every time you're there, though.
Appreciate that. But I guess we might as well get into it. This is all of my episodes have been pretty long. However, so another thing I do want to point out as well is that if this episode isn't out already before raids start, it should be out during raids, which means that hopefully this is like a 2-hour long video. You get to like kind of grind and listen to something or watch something.
Oh, that's perfect.
Exactly. I'm going to try and release all 3 of my parts because I've already released the first 2. So I'm going to like put a post on Reddit with all 3 of them on, and then should be like almost 6 hours worth of content so that people can like actually have something.
It's like a raid playlist. This is all you need.
There it is, right there.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. So we're gonna start off strong with one of the betrayers. He left the Owls to join your alliance. We have DeBoy from the 1500 with Guy Gardner. What are your thoughts of Guy Gardner?
I think Guy Gardner is amazing on Lantern teams. When he's not on a Lantern team, he's all right. Like he's definitely can hold his own. Like there's other greens you'd probably take, but but when he's on a Lantern team, like all the benefits he gives, like the starting the team with like damage immunity, it's so good. And then getting that big bat coming in and popping someone, it's just he can do work. I like Guy Gardner. I think got a bad rap in the very beginning, but I think he's a really solid character.
I think he had a poor introduction to the game because
Right.
like he came out, he had like the whole enrage me and I will destroy you like kit. Kind of like how Wonder Girl did, kind of how Grundy does. And the problem is, and he even came with like empowered strength ups, but the problem
Mhm.
is he just doesn't hit as hard as you want him to. And I mean, he's got survivability, he's got a retaliation. There's a bunch of good stuff, and like you said, that turn zero immunity for crits or damage and
Mhm.
is pretty potent and definitely helps you survive that first wave of damage, especially if you are not using like a speed turn meter leader like Martian Manhunter or Cheetah. Um,
Right.
but at the same time, is he potent enough? Like obviously for DuBois, who's a lantern horny dude,
Yeah.
especially this coming month with Bleeze coming out. You should
Mm.
have seen him in chat. Like he probably has. You
Oh.
probably have a chat of your own, but he basically like there was white stuff all over the walls.
I can
Yeah.
imagine.
But yeah, so Guy, Guy does have some value with raids, especially when he is like a bonus multiplier, just because of his retaliation and the massive amount of agility downs that he applies. Um,
Mhm.
but other than that, I don't see him being this amazing character. If you love Guy Gardner, by all means, rebirth the crap out of him because he can be good. Um, but he's definitely not S tier. He's definitely not A tier. Um, any last thoughts on Guy Gardner?
I would say don't let the fact that someone has a Rebirth 5 because it's the boy. And if there's a lantern that's out there that's Rebirth 5, it's probably the boy. And don't let that sway you to believe that this is gonna be some ultra powerhouse like S tier character. It's because the boy likes him some lanterns.
I have fought him
And
once, that his rebirth Guy Gardner, and he was scary at rebirth 5. I'll give him that.
right.
I'll give him that.
They always every time I see a Rebirth 5, I always, I flinch a little. Like you look at him, okay, you gotta just maybe plan a little bit more for that RB5 character. Just to make sure. But you know what else I think hurt Guy Gardner in the beginning of his introduction? It's that haircut.
Oh,
That legendary haircut of his.
you're
Like,
probably right.
what were they like it's like no one wants to see that ugly haircut. And it's just, oh man, knocked him down a bunch of
I
points.
don't know if like that might have been one of the months that people were like, "Who is that?" Like when they got the silhouettes,
Yeah.
they're like, "That head shape doesn't match anyone that I know of." And obviously it was next to like Kilowag, I think. But excuse me, yeah. Once the reveal came, you were like, "Oh my god, this is the
Oh,
ugliest
it's
month
like,
they've
oh
ever
boy.
released."
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's funny as
Uh,
hell. But I think that was also the month that this next character got reworked. I can't remember to be exact, but another unique
mhm.
for DuBois, the trader,
Mhm.
Jessica Cruz, who I actually really, 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 really enjoy, and I was super like pissed off that she didn't get the 6-day event the month after her rework because everyone wanted her. I think we
Mhm.
got who did we get after? I think it was John Stewart,
Oh,
maybe. Um,
I would never be able to remember.
I can't remember either, but it was the other lantern that got reworked that month, and no one was
Medphyll.
very happy. Medphyll, yeah,
Yeah.
Medphill's still good. Medphill's pretty great.
He's still really good,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just everyone wanted Jessica Cruz because she's actually really good, and
Yeah, she's
yeah,
awesome.
she's like the green Lobo, except she does a shit ton of damage. And whatchamacallit, she's also just like a very good, well-designed character kit now, and her animations and her like I don't want to just say body. I can't think of the word right now, but her body's smoking. I'll just say that.
Yeah, this is just Jessica Cruz.
Exactly. What are your thoughts on Jessica?
I love Jessica Cruz. I think she's an amazing character. I actually used her today in the stream, and she helped me. What was it today? It was yesterday, maybe, but she helped me, and because she's so helpful with her double pop blast. Like when that thing hits, it'll just it'll like tear up any red, and two, if you're going against a blue, which tends to be intelligence, like you're able to just shut them down. It's just she's she works so well with so many, like I feel like she works really well with any team comp. When you need to shut down an intelligent tune, like just bring Jessica Cruz. She can get it done, and she can look real good doing it too. Because
Yeah.
man, she's probably one of my favorite. Well, actually, I have a new favorite character in the comics, but before that new character came out, Jessica Cruz is my favorite Lantern. She's just the
I think
best.
she still might be my favorite Lantern. I'm torn because I really like her and I really like Jon Stewart, but I think I like her because of whatchamacallit. I think I relate to her more. They did a really good job with her story as far as like
Oh
bringing
yeah.
real world issues into her
Hmm.
lore and like personality.
Yeah, it was just her, like, yeah, like having all the anxiety and like the fear of going outside, and
Right.
to overcome those real fears that like people have, like not the fear of a space alien coming at
Right.
you. It's hard to relate to that, but the fear of like, failing or just going outside and trying to just, you know, live up to like heroes around you, man. It was a lot to relate to. I think a lot of people relate to Jessica Cruz, and it's one of the reasons why she's such an awesome character. And I think it's one of the reasons why she's a popular character in the game too. And everyone was really happy that she got a rework, because she's worthy of being, I think how they have her in the game now is where people think she should be. She's in a really good spot. Like you can bring her in and do well in a lot of your matches with her.
I agree. And the thing is though, is that like anytime I see Du Bois' Lantern team, she's not on it. And I'm like, dude, I want to see your Jessica Cruz in action. Like that's you always use the same Lantern team. You've got like 17 Lanterns RB5 now. Like let's mix it up a bit. Um,
He's always raving about like that's his like favorite lantern,
right.
but I think he uses Kilowog a lot. It's that speed meta though.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that's
You
probably
gotta be
why he
speedy.
uses Guy more often than not,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
either way, our next one, oh my god. Okay, so Du Bois is just gonna like completely conquer this half of the video. The next one we have is Kilowog, we just mentioned from Du
Hmm.
Bois of the 1500, and whatchamacallit, he is
Great alliance, by the way.
Great Alliance. Isn't it full?
You're
You're
on
always
you're on the way over. Yeah, you're coming over like next month, I think.
next one. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. He didn't say no.
Whatchamacallit, the Kilowog is always referred to as Kilo Cakes because
Oh
he's got
yeah,
that ass.
he
That's
does.
about the only thing. He's got that ass and he's got that muscles, but after that, you really don't want to look him in the face. Like you put a bag over that face, I tell you what. Um, whatchamacallit, but he is a very actually he's pretty incredibly useful. I'm not gonna lie. He brings when I'm allowed to bring him with my Raish team, he completely helps my Raish like destroy people. It turns from into like it goes from a disease team to a holy shit, Raish keeps killing me with his fucking scimitar. Uh,
Hmm.
sorry, you can curse on this channel too, by the
Okay.
way. um whatchamacallit. But Kilowog is very good. That targeted stun is so powerful.
That's such an amazing like thing they added to the game, the targeted stuns.
Yes, targeted anything is like amazing.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I absolutely love it. But Du Bois says he's his primary counter to Azrael right now. What are your thoughts?
I I agree that, well, yeah, I agree that's the boys' primary counter. And I mean, I'm still like when I see Azure, I think Arkkis, but like it's, yeah, Kilowog just does such a good job of doing it, because it's that opening stun, and then the affinity advantage against Azrael is great. But Kilowog, just this the speed, the power, he's he like as a Green Lantern, like he trains the Green Lanterns. Like he's the trainer, and he is living up to that with his kit. Like it's just he's so useful. He shows you how it should be done. Like go fast, hit hard, Like that's what he's about, and that's what he does it so well.
It's really funny too because Boy, when Kilowog was released, he's like, wow, he's really fast. When Kilowog in the lore is like considered a slow character, and that shouldn't be a thing. But I mean, the rest of his kit definitely, I could see how it is more of like a trainer vibe to it because he's setting his team up for success, not just himself. He's not a
Right.
selfish character at all. His passives alone are like super useful. So yeah, I think he's a great character. I personally wish I had him at RB5 because he would have made my Raish team like unbeatable. And I wasn't interested at the time, mainly because the boy was super hyped and I was like, it's an ugly hog looking bill. But I didn't realize how good he was at the time. But I also don't think that Raish was reworked yet either, so that was probably it too.
I
Yeah.
I remember we talked about this. Me and Costling and Du Bois talked about this. We thought that if Azrael didn't come out last year, we think Kilowog would have been the best new character of the year. He's that important and he's that good. Like again, those targeted stuns are amazing. The critical, like I think what is his passive he gives like
If you get crit, you
critical.
get 2 empowered strength ups, and Kilowog
Yeah.
also gets those empowered strength ups.
And then yeah, his passive, he purges. Like purging is so important these days. Like purging those buffs. And then the shielding, it's just man. And then he has he also has targeted strength ups too, right?
Yes, he put
Yeah. Oh my
empowered
goodness.
strength ups and a debuff immunity on one specific character on your team, while the whole team also gets shield. So
Right.
just an all-around amazing character. I have yet to do a 2D
Yeah.
tune on him, and it's a funny story actually. So that month came along, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, "I'm gonna take a chill pill this month because I don't really care about lanterns, and I'm gonna get Du Bois to do all my 2D tunes for me." And Du Bois recorded one for Kilowog. He did, and he tried to
Oh.
send it to me, and something happened, and it just wouldn't work. Like the transfer of video and sound wouldn't work. And then somehow it apparently got deleted on accident, and it never came to light. So
That's what I used to tell like a teacher, like, oh, I did the homework and I tried to send it to you, but I don't know what happened. It got
you
deleted.
don't know exactly how excited Du Bois was to do it.
I bet.
He was like, "Oh yeah, this is my thing," and we were both really disappointed because I really wanted to see it. And I wonder if like the lost tapes of Du Bois are out there somewhere, but
They're
they're
out
out
there.
there. But anyway, moving on to the next one. We spent a lot of time on Kilowog. Let's move into Larfleeze. The
Ooh,
last
Larfleeze.
time I did this, Vincent Young of the Owls was the only person to have him Rebirth 5. This go around, guess who happened to
Mm-hmm.
rebirth him? And that would be Du Bois again from the 1500. Um, I love how all of the lanterns are just like perfectly in a row because
Yeah.
I mean we're gonna get a lot of lanterns for the RB5 energy showcase. So I get it. But before I go, I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts on Larfleeze?
Larfleeze is one of my favorite characters in the game. I'm not like a person who likes to get real cute with my team comps and all these cool things. I like people that can just hit someone in the face real
Yep.
hard, and Larfleeze does that. And the more you kill, the stronger he gets, and he hits people in the face even harder. And I'm about that like damage output. Just give me someone who can hit you very hard with his basic, and I'm in love. So like Larfleeze is so great.
I am
So many things about him are good.
I'm very disappointed that you say you don't like to get cutesy with your teams. But also the fact that I knew from like right when you started saying it, I was like, I want him to just say, I'm very pew pew meta favorite. Like that's all
Oh
I
yeah.
care about. And Larfleeze very much so was like the beginning of the pew pew meta because if you didn't kill him,
Mhm.
that's exactly what he would do. He would destroy you with laser beams. Um, and then we've got like Black Hand who kind of does the same thing with he
Yeah.
seems a little bugged though, so we're not really happy with that. But um Larfleeze I feel has been a little bit power creeped. What do you think?
I kind of agree. Like I'm using Larfleeze less and less with what's going on, but I mean, it's also because of the speed meta too, and like, Black Flash is blue and the other characters are, blue, and it's just hard to really get him in there. Um,
Right.
but I think he still has a tremendous amount of value, even like within PvP and even like on like PvE things like waves. Anytime you have waves, Larfleeze is your man because he just but that when that last wave comes, he's just unstoppable.
Yes, and whatchamacallit, I think that he actually kind of could be not necessarily a counter, but like someone you could plug into your team against a speed team, just because like he gets what 100% turn meter when you kill one of his allies, like, and
Hmm.
then that sets him up for your destruction, basically. Like you
Yeah.
attack his team and he'll start gaining crit ups and turn meter, and then you're kind of SOL. I know Black Flash can still easily take him. I don't know if he can one shot him yet, unless you're like Red Frenchie, who's got an RB5 one already. But
Hmm.
uh, I think he's got a good kit. Maybe he'll get a rework. I hope not in 2021. Like when we all saw Bleeze on the reveal the other day, I was like,
Hmm.
do we really need more lanterns? Like we just had a year of lanterns. I think
I'm always more for more lanterns.
right, but in 2020, 12 of the 24 characters that either got released or reworked were lanterns.
See, what I'm hearing is 12 of the 24 characters weren't lanterns, and that's the
Oh
problem.
Jesus. Du Bois wants to suck you off right now. Uh, it's fine. But any final thoughts on Lark, please?
He's great. Get him if you don't have him. He's one of my rebirth candidates. I just got enough shards for him. So oh, and he was the when he was introduced, he was that the first siege.
Oh yeah, he was the very
And that
first
was
Siege, that's
exciting.
true. It
Yeah.
was also the month that Atrocitus came out, which I kind of was surprised that Atrocitus didn't get one of the, um, reworks in February because of Bleeze, but at the same time, it just looks like a crazy lady month is what the theme looks
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah. It's a ladies' night.
You're gonna be doing a lot of ladies' night streams.
A lot of ladies' nights.
But let's move on to a character we've already talked about and is a lantern, but guess who it's not gonna be?
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's not gonna be Du Bois this time. It is Medphyll, and the player that we have is White Chocolate TV. And I don't know if I have his alliance. I'm maybe whatchamacallit. Silver Fox might have figured it out, and I didn't log it. I'm gonna check here real quick. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the Medphyll rework?
When Medphyll got reworked, he went from a tune that wasn't really worth anything. Like he wasn't like he helped a lot of people clear the campaign trail because of his strength downs. But aside from that, like he wasn't really worth bringing into anything. And now I think he's one of the better leaders in the game. He just especially when you pair him with Cruz, because then you can shut down any team combination. Like Cruz and Medphyll together with intelligence downs, the strength downs, they're awesome together. But Medphyll on his own, he's such a good leader. I I really think he's one of the best leaders in the game. It's just his ability to shut people down is so good. Like especially Wonder Girl. Like if you can shut down Wonder Girl, and if you can shut down Azrael, which Medphyll can when the stars align, yeah, Medphyll can shut him down real quick, and that's always something great to see. And the heals that he brings in,
So, okay,
they did a good job.
this is my favorite thing about Medphyll is that um when the speed meta eventually dies, which we're all kind of waiting for to happen, um, Medphyll is sitting pretty fucking pretty.
Hmm.
Like because not only obviously he is like his leadership is speed, but it's also sustain. It's also shield. Um,
Yeah,
the he's like Lex light, but also in a good way because Lex requires you to buff up in order to heal or gain intelligence and turn meter or whatever. Medfill doesn't require you to do anything except get a turn. So as long as
yeah.
you're continuously getting those turns, um, so Black Flash is going to work amazing with Medfill right now. Um, and I say speed meta, but when I say that, I just mean Martian Manhunter and Cheetah. Um,
Yeah.
whenever that extra turn meter goes away, Medfill is going to shine like the planet that he is in this art with. I think Silver Fox put Mogo in this art, but White Chocolate is sitting damn pretty. And not only that, but Medphyll also, he's only got 1 damage ability, but that ability hits pretty damn hard.
Yeah, it does. I'm always surprised sometimes when it pops off. I'm like, oh, that was more damage than I was
Right.
expecting, and it's
He's
great.
like a support character that can
Yeah.
actually deal significant damage, and
Mhm.
you're very happy with that. So I'm very happy with that. And he's just got so
I'm
much.
surprised there's only one.
Go ahead.
I'm surprised there's only one RB5 of him. Like,
Well, he's kind of a character that is like, even despite his good kit now, he's still kind of a joke as far as like, oh, he's just broccoli. We don't put a lot of
he does
stock
look
in
goofy.
broccoli. He's honestly a character that nobody really expected to be in the game before, like plenty of others. Like even Shiva being added to the game this month, she should have been a part of the game way before Medphyll was, right?
Yeah, there's a significant amount of other lanterns or characters that should be in before Medphyll, but here he is.
Exactly. So that's where we're sitting right now. But um, amazing control character, very very good at it.
Hmm.
Um, his taunt actually feels like he can survive now, even better than a lot of turn 0 taunters like Metallo or Giganta even. Um, so good character.
I feel like when I'm fighting against a Medphyll and he starts taunting, then I'm like, that's when the match can start getting out of control. Like when he's taunting, it's like other taunting characters, like you said, Giganta or whatever. Like these characters are supposed to be these tanks. When they taunt, it's like, you're not really concerned. But when you're trying to do the match and then Medphyll starts taunting, it like throws everything off, and then because you could just do it again later. And I don't know. It's just I always feel like once Medphyll starts taunting, things start going bad, and then so you have to really plan for that.
All right, so let's get into Mirror Master, who is there's only one player that has him Rebirth 5, and that is Mirror Master. But Mirror Master is an old player from the Owls that has left it, and I'm not sure if he still plays the game or not, but still super jealous of this character because I have recently fallen in love with him. Um, hits like a truck. He's got an AoE out of turn
Hmm.
attack, which not a lot of characters have. He's got a lot of He's a slow character, but he brings the enemy team to the same speed because he passively hits you with speed downs. He actively hits you with speed downs. You pair him with people like Chemo or Clayface, and you've got a team match made in heaven. So they also gave him a purge with his with his rework, which is something that the speed down meta really needed. Because if they didn't have that, they'd run into the ability, like the problem with Kid Flash, where like they're so good at speeding down their enemy that like if they have death immunity or damage immunity, they will literally never get a turn again, and you have to
Yeah.
force retreat yourself. So that purge is mighty appreciated. Any thoughts on Mirror Master?
I just when you talk about his out of turn AoE, that is to me one of the most frustrating things about Mirror Master when I'm fighting him. I mean, he does a lot of stuff like again, all those turn meter downs and slow downs and stuff, but when he pops that out of turn AoE, it hits so much harder than you think it's going to. And I've been annoyed by this character. I don't have him. I don't know why I don't have him. He's probably too like cute for me, too fancy for me probably. But man, he
Too
can
fancy.
he just going against Mirror Master, you always you forget. You forget what he's capable of doing, and then he'll punish you
Which
for
I
it.
like that you say that he's too fancy, which to me says niche. Um, and whatchamacallit. But at the same time, he hits as hard, if not harder, than Arkkis, in my opinion. Like,
Oh, those
I
are some
know,
bold
and
words.
that's why I'm saying them. Like, it's because nobody
No.
uses Mirror Master, and like they need to be made aware that he's special damage, and because of his lower speed, I think they gave him higher damage modifiers, and like his basic alone one shots reds like easily. I know he's not Arkkis, and I know like Arkkis has some survivability that Mirror Master doesn't necessarily have, but Mirror Master goes invisible. He can like is a lot of whatchamacallit. We just talked about this off. Um, but we're gonna move on. and it's been a while since we have seen a more niche character, another niche character. I mean, we just saw Mirror Master, but um, Stargirl by McQuinn 77. I don't know if it's McQuinn or if it's McQuinn, from the Earth X Alliance.
I like I
I
like
like I like
McQuinn.
McQuinn too. It sounds like McQueen, you know,
Yeah.
or what is it?
Yeah.
Cow? Yeah,
Kachunga.
there it is. Yeah.
Whatever he does.
Whatchamacallit. I like that it's a unique that doesn't belong to like an alliance that's like always in the top 10 or anything. Like it shows that there are players out there that really enjoy the idea of Rebirth 5 and being like an elite player and all that, without having to be out there and like in the top 10 players in the game. Stargirl is also someone I was extremely jealous of, and when she got her 6-day event last year, I was like, I also farmed her to RB5, and I haven't done it yet because I think that whatchamacallit, like I did it because I want her rework to be like anti-Azrael, anti-Powergirl, anti-Arkkis, you know? Like I want it to make them completely obsolete. And right now, like they tried to do that with her and with Aqualad's releases, but it just doesn't do it. And I want it to do it. So I farmed it just in case the rebirth or the rework ever comes around and it's good. What are your thoughts on Stargirl?
I I rarely run into her. I don't have her. And I don't think I've even when I have ran into her, I'd have never thought like, uh-oh, there's Stargirl. So this is a very, very unique RB5. And I'd like to see an RB5 Stargirl in action, but it's yeah, she
I
needs
had a
something.
conversation with him because he sent me the stuff and I was like, oh man, I'm so jealous of that. Like that's actually one I want to do myself. And he was like, I
Mhm.
love her to death, but at the same time, like she still doesn't do it for me. Like he wanted the Rebirth
Yeah.
5 to be the reason that like she became good. Um, and apparently like it's not bad by any means, but she just doesn't finish the job like he wants her to. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm praying for you, Matt Quinn. I hope that she gets the rework that you want her to, that I want her to. Um, yeah, maybe we should collab and do like a figure out some new kit for her and send it into Reeves and see what she thinks. But we'll see. We'll see. Also, I just love her art, and I think that the art team designed her very well. She's very pretty.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how
She
old
is.
she is in the comics, and I don't want to make like a sex joke. Um, so she's a beautiful character, and I'm glad that they added her to the game.
It is always nice when the character comes out and the design just looks great. And Stargirl's one of those. Like she does look great. Like even just the costume design and the staff, it just and then the movements of the animations, it's all
I think
nice.
some
Like
people were
it's
kind of pissed off that she doesn't actually hold the staff. Like it somehow just appears in her hand anytime she attacks.
like yeah. Yeah. That would
I
she should
agree.
be holding it.
Completely agree. But let's move on. We have a character that I fought for a lot before his rework. Like I thought that he was good before the rework. Um, but now he's honestly probably one of the most underrated best characters in the game, and that is Superboy, Jonathan Kent,
Oh,
owned by
yep.
OC3 of the Owls, who is the only one who had him done last time I did this. And since then, M4 of the Owls has also added him to his repertoire. Um, and he's a character that like counters basically everything. Honestly, like he can't miss, so he's anti-evasion. He's got a
Yeah.
no damage stun that hits everything all the time.
Hmm.
True sight to hit whoever he wants, and his shit purges too. So,
Yeah. It's
oh,
huge.
also probably the most important thing is his passive turn meter gain that like imp- makes his
Yeah.
team capable of competing with those speed teams without having to have a speedster.
He's been the solution to so many problems for me. I was late on the Superboy train, and once I finally got him, he's so useful. Like again, that purge, that true sight purge, like that's amazing. And then even when he does the stun, he has a chance of popping off and running around and just hitting two people. like, and then purging some more, and then a great thing, his base or his laser eyes or his heat vision eyes, they trigger Lex. He gets some heals there. He's a tank. He can take shots.
Yeah.
I mean, I've used him so much more of all the characters that I'm gonna say that since I started streaming and people told me to get. I feel like Superboy has been the one that's just so useful and so worth it to me. Like, he's very much worth taking up because he'll help you in so many
I
situations.
was one of those voices in the chorus that was being like,
You were.
Superboy would easily help you solve this entire team problem right now, and you were like, "But I
Mhm.
don't have him." I was like, "Well,
I did
that's
say it
your
like that
problem."
too.
Whatchamacallit. No, great character though, and you're right. For some reason,
Yeah.
he's a incredible tank. Like, can take hits. Like, he doesn't have a
Yeah.
taunt by anything means, but um, he has a damage or a death immunity in his kit that's pretty gated, but like he doesn't really need it. And
Yeah.
whatchamacallit, the fact that he basically permanently has true sight. Like, unless you slap a buff immunity on him, he always has true sight. And that
Mhm.
is something that's invaluable. And especially when there are like reds out there like Azrael, who you need to purge off his like special buff in order to make sure he's useless, or um, getting ahead of the team before Arkkis can taunt and stunning him,
Mhm.
purging off damage or death immunity, either one. Like, he
Mhm.
is incredible at solving every problem in the game, and that's why I think those two brought him to RB5. I regret not farming him to RB5, especially when he did get the 6th day for after his event. But that was before I turned into a mega whale, and I just didn't have 70,000 gems to spend on him. Yeah,
It's a
I
lot of
know.
gems.
It's the cheapest.
Purging evasions
Yes.
is something that he's so good at because that purge doesn't
Nope.
miss. And when those evasion tunes are stacked up, like, just Superboy, just do it. And those evasion tunes are probably red. Like, and so just go ahead and bring Superboy in, get all that turn meter when they're invisible or someone's taunting, and it's so
And my
good.
favorite thing too is like the AI, when given true sight, still acts like um the the way you want it to for some reason. Like, if Harley is on the enemy team, even if she enrages your Superboy, um he's gonna attack her anyway, regardless of him
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
true sight. He attacks her if you are against a Harley with an Azrael. And this, might I add, is before the rework drops for Harley Quinn. So we have no idea what that'll look like.
Yeah.
I think we're literally recording this the day before raids start, which means reworks probably will drop tomorrow along with all the kits and stuff. So yeah, we'll see if Superboy is still useful in that matter, but I really don't see him losing utility.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's good. He's definitely, I mean, like me, I don't have any RB5s, so I would tell people you don't have to RB5 him, but he's definitely worth taking up. You want Superboy on your team.
all right, let's move on. We have one of my uniques. I had her done last go around as well. Her name is Supergirl. She is one of the sexiest characters in the game. She has a very unique kit, which is definitely what helped me decide to Rebirth 5 her. I thought she'd be a little bit better than what she is. She isn't bad at RB5 by any means. She's just incredibly more niche of a character. Like, you can only
Hmm.
really bring her in specific situations, and she still gets pretty much obliterated by any kind of retaliation character. So also, if you can't bring her really against evasion characters either, unless you have like Owlman or Steppenwolf on your team. But even so, she does hit decently hard when she crits, and since her only attacks are AoEs, it does make her
Yeah.
kind of unique. I had a Rebirth 5 team idea that she was a part of, and I gave it up because Atrocitus was very like few and far between as far as sales go, and I wasn't seeing an event happening for him anytime soon. And maybe he gets one with Bleeze. I don't know. We'll
Yeah, with the
see.
Blaze
We were
coming out.
hoping for
Yeah.
the rework, but it didn't happen. So maybe he gets a 6th day. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that was he was part of that team because I wanted her to spam her basic instead of her third ability. And I was like, well, the best way to guarantee that is Atrocitus. She does work very, very well against Steppenwolf teams, against Owlman teams, and against um, Deadshot hired gun teams. Like those three characters, if they're on any team, I can slot her in and she will utterly destroy you because she gets turn meter
Ooh.
and strength ups. And that's actually my favorite use for her is just destroying crit teams. But the problem is you don't see those very often anymore because Wonder Girl exists and the speed meta exists.
Yep.
So still a great character for those teams, but that's really the only spot that she excels in.
Yeah, Supergirl. I remember when she was announced, I was very excited because I was a huge fan of the New 52 Supergirl storyline, and I was in love with that Supergirl, that how they wrote her and everything. And she was actually one of the first characters that I said, I'm gonna spend money to get stuff. And I didn't buy shards or anything, but I bought a pack of gems that allowed me to buy the shards to get the shards for her. But I was so ready for Supergirl, and then I remember being very disappointed. And I thought I thought I made a huge mistake, and I just kind of like stopped using her. And then for a while, she seemed to be like the leader. Like, I remember just she was like the leader you needed, and on top of the all the top 100, the leaderboard, it was all Supergirl leads.
Yep.
And I don't know, I guess she again, more leaders have come out, but
Oh.
yeah, I wish, I don't know.
Was that before or after the Arrow Bro era?
Oof, I really cannot remember. I remember being in line at like 5 a.m. at San Diego Comic-Con, sitting there and then spending the money. That's the last, like that's my only time frame. It was a summer of maybe like 3 or 4
Or like
years ago, but
2016,
3 years ago
2017?
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Either way, yeah, she's
Supergirl
still
though.
super cool. I enjoy using her. She's
Yeah.
probably, in my opinion, has some of the best animations in the game, and I think a lot of people, like, don't think of her anymore or, like, don't, like, when they're thinking of greatest animations, she's not on their list just because she is such an old, underrated character at this point.
Yeah.
Most people go to, like, the brand new characters who have some pretty impressive animations, I won't lie. But every time I see Supergirl's basic go off or her go and scoop up a giant piece of earth out of the ground, I'm like, damn girl, that's hot.
I just want her new
I don't
52
want
skin.
that skin. I want Red Lantern.
Like, I want it. Oh yeah, the Red Lantern skin would be really good
I'm
too.
actually gonna side with Boy on that one.
Well,
I'm like,
both.
I want the Red Lantern one, but
I want New 52, and also I want both at the same time. It should be both skins, just
you're
two Supergirl
probably
skins.
more likely to get yours though, because for some reason the WB team loves all of the new 52 skins. Like every skin they
They
introduce is
do.
like new 52 Poison Ivy. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
but I don't did Ivy really need a skin? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up the new 52 image right now for myself because I don't know what it looks. Oh,
It's a really cool costume. Like, I was a huge fan of it. A lot of people made fun of it, but I thought it was a
it's
really
pretty
cool
hot. I'm not
design.
gonna lie. It's pretty
Yeah, it
hot.
is. Like,
She's
she's
very
leggy in it.
leggy. Yeah, she's got a little bit more hair to her. But yeah, no, it's pretty hot. The cape is cool too. I like that.
Yeah, I love
All
the
right,
cape.
if she gets that, I'll appreciate her too. But it's
All
fine.
right, good. Okay.
Let's move on. We have another super in the midst, and that is Mr. Superman. Last
I'm
oh,
already
I know.
shaking my head.
Last time we did this, I only had two people on the list for him, and that was OC3 of the Owls, just because he is farming those super Kryptonians all the time. And we got Jay Smooth, 73 from Metropolis Justice. And since then, we have added three more players: Mr. Boomstam of the Owls, Balthazar, 22 of the True House of L. Good job for getting your
Oh yeah.
Alliance's like mascot as your Rebirth 5. And then Prim of the Owls as well has him. We were all a little surprised, but Prim seems to love the super people, so because he was a sandbagger before he started like randomly Rebirth 5ing people, and then boom, he's got a Rebirth 5 Superman and a Rebirth 5, I think, Donna Troy, and we were all like, "Whoa, Prim, oh, you're a sandbagger. You can't sandbag anymore." And he's like, ah. But either way, very a lot of controversy on this character last time he got reworked. These two, the OC3 and J Smooth, I think Rebirth 5'd him right after his rework popped out. And one of the characters that I think I was really surprised at, and well, also not at the same time, because people were begging for his rework for two plus years, and then it came out and it was garbage, and we were like, really, WB, this is what you have us giving? And but it's pretty damn good. I mean, so it's not like the hard hitter that we wanted. That's whatever. That's gonna be how it
Yeah.
is. But he is the defender of the week, and that is like his role in this game. So I appreciate it. I think he's still one of the most annoying leaders in the game.
Oh my
Yeah. What are
goodness,
your
he
thoughts?
is. I find it funny that Superman is just been around so much controversy in this game, from either being not strong as he should be because he's freaking Superman, or the red sun skin,
Oh God.
or the rework that made him was a terrible rework, so they had to like quickly do another rework really fast. And it's he's a really good leader, but he's I hate fighting in Superman. Like when I see that team, I had a match today, it took like 20 minutes because Superman is just the most annoying leader in the game. And but I think when you're using him that's on defense, but on attack, he's still very good. Like he can help you out a lot with that, pulling those taunts and the damage immunity, and like he's in the chance of stun on his punch too. Like he's a good character. And I like where I like, and like you said, like he's not the hard hitter we wanted, but what we have is still very good.
Isn't
So
Superman in the lore
it's
kind of like how Peter Parker is in Marvel? Like he pulls his punches because he really doesn't want to kill you, and he knows he
oh
can.
my good.
So
Yeah, he famously was telling Darkseid that he always feels like he has to walk on eggshells all the time when he's on Earth, just 100% of his time. But when he fights Darkseid, he doesn't have to do that. He can hit him as hard as he wants, and that's Superman. He's just constantly afraid of just the amount of power he has. Yeah, he can break everything, and it's just he has to hold back so much
that's a
that
sexy conversation, honestly. Like
yeah,
I imagine Superman like actually enjoying it when Darkseid invades because he's like, "Fuck yes, I gotta go beat the shit out of
yeah, I
someone
guess.
for real this time." That's
Yeah, he told him, he's like, "You can take it." He's like, I think he said, he's like, "You can take it, can't you, big boy?" I'm almost certain that's what he told Darkseid as he punched him in the face as hard as he could. He must
he
love
probably
that.
does. He probably does. Um, any last thoughts on Superman?
Keep him away from me. Don't use him. Just I'm tired of. I hate seeing
I'm,
him, or I hate when I fight him and I accidentally bring like Artemis
oh
to the match.
yeah, I do that all the time because you kind of forget that Artemis is like heavy crit.
Yeah.
Like you know that she does damage,
Mhm.
but like because of her like low crit chance with her tankiness, you're just like, oh, she'll be fine, and then you don't think about it. You just
Yeah.
don't think about it, and then you get fucked.
Yep.
Uh, but at the same time, I actually do want to talk about the controversy by the skin the red sun skin. So
Mm,
first of all, it was the second skin he's ever gotten, and when only like 8 characters out of 148 characters, excuse me, have gotten skins, and he gets a second one, you're like, okay, it better be a damn good skin. And it was gorgeous.
and it was a good one. It was
And
a
if you
great
guys
one.
don't know what the skin looked like, I have the video on my YouTube channel. I do a skin showcase for every skin that comes out, and I have that one before it got reworked again to the shittier version, and it is stunning as hell. It has all of the like bells and whistles for like the Soviet Union costume or whatever. And I think due to copyright issues, they were forced to change it because it couldn't be exactly how it was supposed to be. Um, and they like even community outcry, like we changed their minds on the rework, but they can't beat legal issues, so they couldn't change it back, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But whatchamacallit, it's a sad day for us all because it was a beautiful skin.
It was a really great skin. I was so looking forward to getting it and like running it, and then yeah, oh
Right,
well.
exactly. Oh well.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
but I guess we can finally move on. Um, so our final character of the Rebirth 5 showcase, of round 2 at least, is Mr. Wally West himself, the fastest Flash ever, except for in game, he is not the fastest. Um, and he is owned by Loot of the Owls, and it's funny actually too because Loot rebirthed him um, right before he Impulse and Black Flash came out. So I still think Wally is faster than Black Flash because Black Flash is actually just barely faster than I think than Kid Flash and Jay Garrick. Like there are 3 speedsters that outspeed Black Flash, and that is Impulse, Wally West, and Reverse Flash. So
Yeah,
like
right.
Black Flash is beatable, but Wally kind of lost a little luster when those 2 came out
Yeah.
because Impulse is faster than him, and whatchamacallit, Wally's kit has always been kind of clunky because like the AI is going to open up with his 3, but he still needs those speed ups to do any damage with it. And whatchamacallit, he he's really only good for the one thing, and that is the turn 1 turn meter up. So, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts on Wally?
I've never had I like going against a Wally, I just always think he's gonna be the last one alive because just how he is, like he just keeps cheating the death, like, and he just keeps you take him down to 0 and he gets back up again. It's just like it's very annoying. Um, but I've never had too much trouble like fighting a Wally West, and I'm almost certain I've gone against Loot's RB5 Wally West. I think I have. Um, but it was never, yeah, like you said, the AI it's a little clunky, so you don't get that oomph you need um from him on like on defense. So I mean, I think he's a great character. And then the fact that, the speed meta seems to be growing and growing, like it's Wally's a good one, but I don't know. I like Black Flash better.
Well, yeah, because Black Flash is the whole freaking package. Like
Yeah, he
he
does
does
it
it
all.
all. He does it all. I'm curious though because of the Harley rework. Like I obviously have no idea what it
I
looks like, but
know.
like she might make him completely irrelevant this month. And whatchamacallit, I was joking because I honestly I told the owls in chat, I was like, ah crap, I finally have to gear up freaking Hal Jordan. And they're like, really? You actually gonna do that? And I was like, I don't know, probably, because I don't want to deal with Harley all month. Because that's what's gonna happen. She's gonna be on every single team if she's good, unless they nerf the shit out of her and she becomes like
They're not. Don't even put that out there. She's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good
all of the
rework.
people who have her
You
RB5
know,
are gonna be pissed if it's a nerf.
you say about bringing Hal Jordan for Harley, and then I do that as well because Hal Jordan's a great counter to Harley. But I also find that, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I've had people tell me this isn't true, but I've literally never encountered this. When I run Batgirl, Harley, Mad Jester, I never get enraged. No one gets enraged running those 2. So Batgirl lead with Harley Quinn there, 0 I've never once been enraged, and that's how I kinda battle Harley. I just bring
Okay,
my own
but
Harley.
here's the
But
thing. One, you are known for having godlike RNG. 2, it's like a 20% chance to reroll.
yeah, but I've run it a lot. I've done it even against Eclipso, even against whoever, like whoever enrages. I have a
Are you
100%
saying with
success rate
Hal on your
of
team?
never. No, just Batgirl, lead, and then
Is
Harley
your
Quinn.
that's
Like,
your team, not the enemy team.
yeah, my team never gets enraged.
But
I will
you're
never
supposed to
get
enrage
enraged.
the other team.
I know, but when you fight against, like you're saying, you don't want to gear up Hal for those to fight those Harleys, like, but Batgirl
Well,
Harley you'll never
it's
be
not about the
enraged.
enrage. It's about the hammer drop.
The hammer, yes, yes. Well, you bring Superboy,
True. True. That's fair.
but I would love to see anyone show me a video or a clip or something of having Batgirl Harley as your team and then getting enraged. Because I
You
don't
think
think
you
there's
think Saint
something in
Walker had a
there.
baby and the baby was Batgirl and she just
You never know.
anti-enrageable?
Yeah. There's something there. Unless me saying this is putting it out there and they're gonna fix it, then don't.
That's
Then never
exactly what
mind.
happens.
But
Why do you think Cassandra Cain's AoE doesn't miss anymore? That's my fault. I know.
oh no. All right. Scratch everything I just said. Hal Jordan is the only way.
I guess, but back to our character, Wally West.
Well,
Yeah, well, yeah, we're
Wally
talking about
West.
somebody else. I love the art here. I hope that they actually do give him this skin on the art where he's like, actually not this skin. I want him to get the what's the skin where he becomes Mr. Manhattan basically, and I think that would be
Okay.
like a sexy Wally skin to have. I do. A lot of people love the Wally basic skin. Um, and I agree, it looks nice, but I actually like the iron one better just because the basic skin makes his face look like a little extra cartoony. And whatchamacallit, like I know it's obviously a cartoon game, but it looks extra
Mhm.
cartoony to me, and I'm not a fan of the face. The body, hell yes, but no, anything else is whatever. Any final thoughts on Mr. Wally West?
He's a good speedster, but he's not the best speedster.
Accurate statement. But yeah, so I'm glad that you were up for this. It's kind of a spontaneous.
I'm glad you invited me.
Yeah,
This was
I
fun.
was like, I have a question to ask you, and you're like, okay, let's hear it. And I was like, oh shit, he doesn't have a high opinion of what I'm gonna ask him, but
No, I
but
was like, let's hear it. I
okay,
want to hear this
it was
question.
it was a text, so it probably wasn't.
Oh yeah. No, it
I
was
got
a
a
happy
different
let's
vibe,
hear it.
yeah, and then
Oh no, I was excited. I wanted to
yeah,
know.
and then I asked the question, you were like, oh fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. I was in.
Awesome. Yeah,
When can we do it? Right now.
this was a fun episode. I think a lot of people are gonna really enjoy it.
I
Good.
had fun. That's all that matters, is if I had fun.
Exactly. That you had fun. Um,
Yeah.
but so we'll see if the Rebirth 5 showcase comes around again. I'm gonna keep collecting the names and stuff as it goes along. So if you guys do decide to Rebirth 5 someone between now and whenever I do the next one, keep messaging me on Discord. I'll have my name in the description below so you can easily find me in Discord and you can send me all the images and all that so I can verify and all that. And then hopefully we'll see you guys next time. I appreciate everyone coming out. I appreciate Mr. Silver Fox for doing all of my art for this episode. I had a lot of great guests, I think, this go around, including Mr. Joshurawrs.
You did have some great
Yeah.
guests. Yeah, they were all fun. Maybe I'll be on the list next
that would
time.
that would be an interesting update
Hey.
because you're the one who's like, meh, RB5, gross.
It's one day. I feel it coming. I do feel it coming,
Okay,
but we'll see.
good. So, yeah, I guess that'll be it. Have a great one, everyone.
Bye, everybody.